Hello, I'm Amelia Morris, Chief Communications Officer for the City of Des Moines. Welcome to City Talk. The cool down of the fall weather is a welcome change here in Des Moines. The busy summer travel season is winding down, and Des Moines International is gearing up for fall and winter travel plans. For today's show, we're on location at Iowa's largest airport, Des Moines International, and we will visit with the Executive Director of the Des Moines Airport Authority, Mr. Don Smithy. We'll talk to the TSA and get you the latest scoop on Southwest Airlines. So we have some real news you can use. Stay tuned. City Talk will be right back after this airplane and these messages. The Des Moines International Airport has made a number of improvements in its services and facilities. Much of this progress has been under the leadership of the Executive Director of the Des Moines Airport Authority, Mr. Don Smithy. We're going to go upstairs to his office and have a little visit. Don, thank you for taking time to visit with us. I know the airport is a very busy place. I want to start with the new Des Moines Airport Authority Board. Can you tell us a little bit about the board, when it began, and how that's working?
Certainly. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to talk to our citizens and the opportunity to talk about my favorite subject, which is the airport.
Okay.
Last year, the City Council and the Mayor were active in forming the Des Moines Airport Authority. The Council approved it, and it operates under the state regulations, state law, Chapter 330A of the Iowa Code. And the Airport Authority only has one purpose, and that is to operate this airport for the benefit of the public. And the mayor and the council collectively appoint 5 board members who we report to as a staff that are responsible for the policy, direction, and development of the airport. And under the procedure, the city transferred all the buildings and equipment and things that compose the airport to the authority. The city retains the ownership of the land, and we lease the land for a long-term, I think it's a 100-year lease for $1 a year. Okay. And therefore, November the 1st, we became the Des Moines Airport Authority.
Okay. Now, there are 5 members on the authority board. And they are appointed.
Yes.
Are these appointments permanent, or could these appointments change within a certain number of years?
They are appointed for 4-year terms,
okay,
and they can be reappointed if the mayor and the council elect to do so. And currently, our chairman is Mr. Ed Hansel. Our vice chairman is Mr. Jim Erickson.
Okay.
Miss Elizabeth Ward is our secretary treasurer. Miss Curdy Levy is a member, and Mr. Mark Feldman is a member.
Okay.
And that composes our 5 board.
And so those of you who don't know them, they are shown, aren't they, on the history board in the airport?
That is correct.
So when you're traveling, you might take a minute to take a look at that. But there are a lot of other new things going on here at the airport. So let's talk about a little bit about that. You have some new nonstop flights. So what's going on? Everybody is getting ready now for fall and holiday travel. So give us the scoop on flights and nonstops and maybe popular destinations for the airport.
Certainly. Well, first of all, let me address a subject that I think is near and dear to every traveler's heart, and that is the 50-passenger jets are starting to go away, and we're starting to see what we call more large mainline aircraft introduced into the Des Moines market. For example, American Airlines has taken 3 regional jet flights out and substituted it with MD-80s, which are the 150-passenger jets that we've known for so many years. Delta now is operating some mainline flights to Atlanta, and our passengers, I'm sure, are grateful for that. We will see more of that as time goes on. U.S. Airways recently announced nonstop service to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is their large East Coast hub, which has access to some international markets, as well as the East Coast and the southeast as well. And additionally, we've seen the combination of United and Continental into one company, and that carries the name United Airlines. And of course, on September 30th, Southwest Airlines comes and begins service to Des Moines. And we're very excited about that. We're preparing for it. They will be offering flights to Chicago Midway Airport. As you know, they bought AirTran Airways, combining the two airlines together, and we were one of the first ones to get the Southwest label versus the AirTran. And through Midway Airport, there are connections pretty much to the south, the north, and also the east. We're also working with them, identifying other markets that they can serve out of Des Moines as well. As you know, they're very competitive. They now carry approximately 25% of the U.S. domestic market in air traffic, which was quite a sum of people.
That's a lot. That says a
Exactly.
lot about Southwest.
Indeed it does.
And so so people should know that when we get to Chicago, then you can go anywhere on Southwest you want to go.
Pretty much. That is one of their largest concentrations of flights and connections in the country. They also have a large presence in the western part of the country, and we're working to get that as well. We would also like to see service back down to the south, for example, St. Louis, and then maybe continue on to Houston, to Dallas, possibly Atlanta. They're opening up Atlanta. And in Houston, they recently received approval to operate international flights out of Hobby Airport, which they've been operating into for their entire history.
Yes.
That will take place in about 4 to 5 years, but then that would also allow an additional service to Latin America, the Bahamas, and so forth, that give our passengers another choice.
Wow. That is so exciting, and I don't have to tell you that not only Des Moines, but all of central Iowa is excited. Well, all of the state of Iowa is excited about what's happening here with Southwest. I'm curious, what are the top destinations out of Des Moines? Where do people go?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's one that we use when we talk to the airlines. Each quarter we do what we call an origin and destination survey, and this is what we find. I'll read the top 10 for you.
Okay.
It's Orlando, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Washington, D.C., Denver, Colorado, New York, Milwaukee, Chicago, and Atlanta. And those are where the bulk of our people go. Now, there are other additional markets that loom up there. For example, San Francisco, Dallas, all the way down to Atlanta, Boston, etc. But what we're looking for is to give people choices to all of those markets, and you will see the numbers start increasing because the service will be competitive.
Wow. When you say the service is competitive, what are you seeing in terms of the cost of airline travel in Des Moines? Can you give us some examples of how things are changing?
Yes, indeed. In my previous experience at Omaha, I was there for 25 years, when we had Southwest enter the market in 1995, we had what somebody termed the Southwest effect. And to the 4 city pairs that they introduced at that time, within 6 months, the average fares had decreased 45%, and the enplanements had increased 100%. That pretty much holds true for all the new markets they go into. Recently in Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina, and also to Charleston, that effect happened. It happens in Louisville because it forces competition among all the other air carriers. And as we see what's called the legacy carriers consolidate into maybe 4 or 5, it's very important to have that option available. But competition is really what drives that market. And as it's a perfect demand curve, as the price of the fares come down, more people travel. As the fares go up, less people travel. So we're seeing the Southwest effect almost now. We've watched some of the fares that are taking place into the markets that Southwest would probably go to, and we're seeing reductions that are making it very palatable to our passengers. Our passenger traffic is up 10% year to date for the calendar year of 2012. We expect that maybe for the first time to reach over 2 million passengers here at the Des Moines International Airport. And that is one of the things that would have a nice effect.
That is fantastic, and that's what we want. We want to be able to travel more, particularly if you're going on a vacation, a family of 4. That makes a big difference in whether you go or not.
Absolutely.
When you have the fares that are affordable.
And it keeps our service here in Des Moines for our local passengers and allows them to use our airport.
Well, let's talk about some of the other new things. Can we talk about some of the plans that you have for new signage for the airport?
Indeed so. We have contracted with a signage firm last year to initiate a new sign program that would reach all the way out to the approaches to the city and also through the city and ultimately into the airport, which would direct you, as we've seen in a lot of major airports, with common signage that would allow you to select where you want to park. Do you want to park in an economy lot? Do you want to park in the parking garage? Where is the terminal exit? And so forth. We want to have these signs consistent and have them out and placed in particular strategic areas that people can use them and easily understand. And they would all be of the same color. We'd be using the interstate standards, the city's standards, and it will be approved by the Iowa DOT. Very important, because we're very fortunate to have the surface access to this airport that is it's essential for success. We are at the crossroads of I-35 and Interstate 80. That is a great asset for us, not only for the city and all the businesses, but for the airport. And we are currently working with the surrounding communities and so forth to get the bypass, quotes, 69.5, redesignated Interstate 335, which would really give us an easy way to get to the airport, particularly coming from the east and the west, even from the north and the south. And we've got, I think, a lot of support, and we are involved with the groups, the partnership and so forth, in trying to get that accomplished.
You know, that would make it more uniform, and it is what people are used to seeing, and Highway 5 or 335 should become that. It's right at your back door.
Indeed it is. We have 2 access points for the airport for that, and therefore it would be a tremendous benefit.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a few other things. There's one other thing new that's coming maybe in the next year or so, and you're doing something with the taxiways or the runways. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. One of our major taxiways is 9,000 feet long, and we're completely removing and replacing it. It's probably 40 to 50 years old.
Wow.
It didn't meet some of the new FAA standards and so forth, and we received a grant from the Federal Aviation Administration of approximately $28 million to do this project. Our portion of it is a 10% match. This year we're splitting it into 2 phases. Manat's construction company from Brooklyn, Iowa was the successful bidder, and they are presently constructing half of the taxiway. We will rebid the rest of it beginning in probably early 2013 and completing it next year and by fall. So that will be done. We have to take good care of that airfield, and we will be putting in new equipment, the latest that the FAA requires for approaches, for taxiing and low visibility conditions, and making it a better airport for the pilots.
This is amazing. There's so many exciting things going on here. Let's talk a little bit about inside the terminal and the airport. You have made some improvements there as well.
That is correct. We last year completed a lot of remodeling in the building, new lighting, a common use ticket counters and so forth. And we are currently working to improve our restaurant and food service facilities. Hopefully we're going to see some new concepts coming in for that before the end of the year. And I think that will be most welcome. We also, in terms of the security lanes, as you know, we've been experiencing some long lines, and that's due to the increase in the traffic that we have here. This building was originally built and designed in the late 1940s, so we've been modifying and trying to adapt everything to it. But as our numbers increase, it's starting to push the walls out a little bit. But we've added another lane for security checkpoint for the x-rays and so forth that TSA operates. We also made provision for the 6th lane, which they are going to be receiving equipment for and having available when we need it.
So when we come up that escalator to the TSA checkpoint, how many lanes are there now?
There are 5 existing now.
Okay.
One recently, the 5th one was put in, and now we're looking at the 6th one.
Because I was going to say, I thought it was 4, so that you've really expanded
Yes.
to the 5th and the 6th. Yeah.
And we are also modifying an area up there where people, for example, we stack the lanes and assign them, the TSA will then run them through the appropriate screening checkpoint. So we're trying to make it easier for our passengers. Right now we're going through a bit of pain, but that will be corrected hopefully by fall.
Those are growing pains, and they're very good to have. I can tell you that. All of this is just wonderful. I know if some people haven't been here recently, there's also some changes that are being made and have been made to the parking facilities.
That's correct. There were 2 distinct separate parking garages built. The top floors were connected. However, the 1st and 2nd floors were not connected. In other words, you had to go up to go out. And so we've corrected that this year. One of the phases, we connected the 2nd floor to the 2nd floor. We are now in the process of constructing access from the 1st floor and making the exits more amenable and user-friendly.
Okay.
And we also gained approximately 107 new parking spots by doing so, which we really needed. And we're constantly looking at new facilities for parking lots, because the additional traffic that we're expecting generated here at this airport obviously we have to stay ahead of it.
Okay. And last year, I believe, did we open a new car rental facility here as well?
Indeed so. The car rental facilities, we built what's called a new ready car facility.
Okay.
It's located on the south end of the airport.
All right.
And they can prepare and fuel and turn those cars around as they get them in and have them available for use much easier.
How does that impact me as a passenger? I mean, it's a nice facility, and certainly it helps the car rental agencies that are located in the baggage claim area, but how does it impact me?
What it does, it gets the cars turned around and available for you much quicker than what they used to. They had separate facilities stretched all over the region here. Now it's into one. And for example, when we have the caucuses, when we have a demand for car rentals, it's very important to get those cars into service as quickly as possible, and for the public. So if you're an inbound passenger, remember half of our passengers that we service are coming from somewhere else. It's very important to have that accessible to them and make it easy for them to use. We're trying to make everything user-friendly for our passengers, not only locally, but also for those that are not local.
Well, that's good, because I know sometimes cars aren't. I've been through that when the car that I wanted wasn't available.
That's correct.
Because it was somewhere else being cleaned or serviced.
That's right.
So that's a real plus. What about the ticket counters where all of the airlines are? I know you did something here where the baggage goes through. There's some big structure out there that wasn't there before. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, and previously the machines that scan the bags for explosive detection purposes were out in the lobby. And we relocated the new machines and a new system behind the ticket counters. So it's out of sight, out of mind, and the TSA processes the bags behind the counters versus processing on the outside. So therefore, it freed up space that we desperately need in the lobby for our passengers, for queuing lines, and so forth. So it's been a great help to us.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the operation itself. Obviously, it's expanded, and it's a bigger, better operation. What's involved in managing an aviation operation like the Des Moines International Airport?
It depends solely on the staff of people doing it and the board of directors. They make the policy and we carry it out. But we have some very, very dedicated people here that are very good at their jobs and do what I can't do it all. I'm the executive director. However, I can't be all places at the same time. So therefore, I have a staff that we've slowly put in place here, and I shouldn't say slowly, since November, that are very professional at running an airport and operating it and do it very well. We probably have fewer people on staff now, but we have people that are very skilled and that is essential. And it's essential that I include them in the things that I'm doing so that we all know what we know each other's jobs. So that if one person is absent, it doesn't make any difference. The public's never going to know that. And our goal, frankly, is to make this airport the crown jewel for Des Moines and the state of Iowa. And an economic generator, it should be one of the major economic engines that drives the economy here. And I am confident that's going to happen. I think it's our time.
We're well on our way.
Yes.
I agree with you on that. Just briefly, I want to talk a little bit about staff support. What type of support or divisions or support operations does it take to keep the airport running 24 hours a day? And how many employees do you have?
We have approximately 80 employees, and that includes the people that plow the snow and so forth, our winter operations. Our operations department is on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're responsible for safety issues and so forth. We have a director of finance and a newer person who is a CPA and has quite a bit of experience with financial matters. And therefore, since we're not a tax-supported body, we have to make our own revenue, and we have to expand the airport. Basically, we live on our own budget. And so therefore, it's very important to watch our financial spending. We operate much as a business, Amelia, because essentially, we are the shopping center for all the people that serve the public, if you can view it in that respect. In other words, we own the building, we own the terminal, we operate the airport and so forth, but our tenants really are the companies, the airlines, the gift shops, restaurants, parking, all these things are done by private companies. And therefore, we work in coordination with them. So our director of finance and director of administration has to make sure that we're taking in enough money to support ourselves, pay off our debts, and so forth. And we also have a director of planning and engineering who's very good. He's been with the airport now approximately 5 years. And so this staff is kind of right at the present time growing up together. And I'm very fortunate to have an assistant executive director who is very well versed in aviation. It's Kevin Foley. He came from the Dubuque Airport. He's had other airport experience. He's taught at a university. He's a pilot, and he has a passion for aviation that I always look for in people that we select for the positions here. So therefore, we've got a small staff, but they're very good at what they do and very efficient.
Okay. Don, thank you. This has been just an eye-opener. I don't think we think about all the things it takes to make an airport. So thank you very much for what you're doing for not just Des Moines, all of Central Iowa.
My pleasure, Amelia. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Long before you get to the check-in process, remember it is still necessary to arrive at the airport 1 or maybe 2 hours before your flight. Allow more time if you have not purchased your ticket in advance. The busiest time for departures at the airport is from 5 a.m. until 8 a.m. And the busiest time for arriving flights here at the Des Moines International Airport is from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. After the check-in process is complete and luggage has been handled, each passenger has to go through the Federal Transportation Security Administration checkpoint, or TSA. Here to tell us about that is TSA Director for the state of Iowa, Jay Brainerd. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk with you and even take a little closer look at the equipment.
It's our pleasure.
First, I'd like to start with the steps. What steps can each passenger expect to go through at a TSA checkpoint?
That's a great question. You know, every process to get through the TSA security line is identical at airports across the country. The first thing that people do when they come to the airport, they want to have their boarding pass and they want to have their proper ID, and they want to arrive to the airport early enough to catch their flight. And we recommend they arrive between 90 minutes and 2 hours before their flight. So arrive at the airport early. The first thing you'll experience is the ticket document checker position. These are the officers that will check your identification against your boarding pass, show that this person is actually flying out. Once that's done, it's a very brief process. Then the passengers submit to screening, and where they go through the screening process. And once the screening process is complete, they're able to gather their belongings and go ahead and travel to their flight and destination.
Okay. What's the goal or the objective of this security checkpoint? Why do we go through this?
Well, you know, we want to provide the most effective security in the most efficient way. And it's all about safety. It's about getting people to their destination safely, and that's really what we're committed to make sure that we're getting that accomplished every day. 1.8 million people traveling every day. We've got to keep them safe.
1.8 million?
1.8 million.
That's a lot. The body scanners are a concern for many passengers, and fortunately we have one of these right behind us. How do they work?
Well, you know, the advanced imaging technology scanners we have are very quick, they're very safe. It's about a 2-second process when somebody comes up through the screening process, and they go ahead and clear their pockets of metallic and non-metallic items. It's very important when people are traveling through security to divest all the property from the person. So if they have bulk cash, jewelry, things like that in their pockets that would potentially set off the machines and require an additional targeted search. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you divest all the property out of your pockets. And once that happens, you go into the scanner, and it's about a 2-second process, and you're finished.
Well, I have a tip. Don't wear pants that have a lot of zippers. I went through that and I set it off.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Most people look at these and they want to know, what are they being exposed to? Is it like an X-ray in the doctor's office?
Well, it provides from the search. There's an image provided after the scanner is complete, and the image is the same for every passenger. And what the scanner does is it takes an image and identifies if there's an area that is subject to additional screening. So the final image is the same for every passenger, and instead of having an individual outline for you, it's the same for everybody.
Okay.
And it will show you specifically what area needs to be cleared.
All right, then it's just a general human body outline.
It's very safe, and the outline is for everybody.
Okay. How does TSA determine who gets scanned and who does not?
Well, every passenger who travels, all 1.8 million travelers every day, are all subject to screening. That's the same at every airport. If you choose not to go through the AIT scanners, you just have to communicate that to the officer.
Well, we also go through, you scan our bags that we're carrying on board.
Yes,
so any specific items passengers should avoid putting in that carry-on luggage?
The types of items that people should go ahead and place in their carry-on: bulk liquids. Sometimes we have passengers arrive to the checkpoint with large amounts of liquids. Passengers are permitted to have liquids 3.4 ounces or less that are all able to be contained in a 1-quart baggie. Additionally, there are other items that passengers have brought into the airports, things like firearms. Firearms can go into checked baggage if they're declared with the airline, and they're put under the belly of the plane. A couple of weeks ago, we had a 6-year-old child come through with an inert, a dummy grenade, a hand grenade. And so those types of things, make sure that you're not only checking your bags, but also your children's bags as well.
Wow, okay. Let's talk about children. Sometimes when young people travel, they're carrying video game systems. Are those allowed?
Yes, ma'am. Video game systems are allowed. Just like laptops, the video game systems have to come out of the carry-on bag and placed into a bin separately.
Okay. All right. What about makeup? Big concern of mine when we're traveling. Are there restrictions because you have lipstick and liquid and powder?
Well, things like lipstick, those are things that don't have to be placed into the 1-quart baggie. But if you have anything that you can smear or spread, anything that's a liquid, it's got to be able to fit into the 1-quart baggie. And the rule of thumb is, if you're not sure, just go ahead and place it into your checked baggage.
Okay. What about when you say smeared or liquid, should I be looking on that bottle for 3.4 ounces?
That's the best thing you can do. Make sure that you travel safe. A lot of places now sell items that you can travel with toiletries that do meet the requirements. The number one reason that we have bag checks at the checkpoint. A lot of times passengers come to the checkpoint and they don't have their liquids in the 1-quart baggie, and then the ones who do, sometimes they leave it in their carry-on bags and they don't pull it out, and that results in a bag search. So that when passengers come, they pull the liquids out of the bag and place them into the bin, and that's very, very important. That's the number one contributor for bag searches for us.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Last question. We understand that this process aids in national security and passengers processing may take longer than expected. What would you like passengers to keep in mind when they're preparing to go through the TSA check?
Well, the two things that we are really trying to get out to the public are to arrive at the airport early. The Des Moines Airport is a lot busier today than it was a year ago. So business is great, business is up. But if you want to travel, we really encourage you to arrive between 90 minutes and 2 hours prior to your flight. Additionally, when you come to the checkpoint, you want to travel smart, but please, please take the liquids out of your bag. Make sure that they're in the 1-quart baggie, and we'll get everybody through security quickly, and we'll do a good job doing it.
Well, that wraps up this edition of City Talk. I hope you will join us again right here on DMTV, City Cable Channel 7. Every month we will visit with a different city department or facility and bring you new information about the services and the facilities that serve you. Today's program can be seen again during the replays on the dates and times now listed on your television screen. You can also watch Channel 7 online. Go to www.dmgov.org and click on Watch Live. We're also available on YouTube. Go to the web pages for the Public Information Office and you will find the links www.youtube.com, City of Des Moines, Iowa. Watch any of our TV shows anytime you want with video on demand. You will find those links on the Public Information Office page on the city website. DMTV is provided to the City of Des Moines by Mediacom Cable. You will find us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the basic tier on Channel 7 or 97-1. For more information, visit the city website at www.dmgov.org. I'm Amelia Hamilton Morris. Thank you for watching.